Well, today we're talking about what is going on in the real estate market. The prices are dropping, but how far are they going to drop? My predictions for the next few months coming up. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone and I'm a real estate agent in the Hampton Roads area. That's from Virginia Beach through Williamsburg, and I do videos every week about living and moving to the area. Today we're talking about the September real estate market. New data has come in from August, talking about the prices that have dropped, how far are the prices going to keep dropping as we go into the end of the year. So you can help make your plans for the coming few months. Should you buy a house right now? First of all, you've probably noticed that since June into July and August, things have slowed down. The news stories have changed, the narratives have changed. Like what we talked about a few months ago, that this was gonna happen. As the interest rates would rise, you would hear different news stories and different narratives kind of paint a new picture of what the real estate market will look like, and it is happening. People are asking if there's a market crash happening or if there's a correction. And this is one reason why I don't like talking about news stories as much, because they talk more about the granular, specific info that's happening that day to get you to click and read the article, which can really be misleading, because that one granular piece of information that they use to make an article might just be one piece of a larger picture that tells a completely different story of what's going on. So the median sales price in Hampton Roads, that includes attached, detached houses in the south side and the peninsula, is $315,000. That is down from 2 months ago when it was $325,000. Basically, median sales prices dropped 3% in the last 2 months. But what does that mean for the coming months? Well, one way to figure this out is to go back in history to see what has happened in the past that could predict the future. So I did some research over the past 15 years of house prices to show you some trends that I think are going to be very helpful to predict the future in the next few months. Here's one thing I want to tell you about the median sales prices over the course of the last 15 years I think is going to tell you a very interesting story. So if you look back, and here's my Excel spreadsheet, my trusty spreadsheet. I did the math over the last 15 years so you can see the data of the difference between the highest point, median sales price point in any given year over the last 15 years. So you can see the range of the highest and lowest in every year through different types of markets. So you can understand what's happening right now. Every year from 2007 current to current, you'll notice that there's a percentage drop from the spring to summertime to the winter time every year. 2007, 13%, 2008, 18.8%, going through 2010 as high as 24%. So every year it's been anywhere from about 8% upwards of 24% of a drop from the highest median sales price month to the lowest median sales price month. And then if you notice, even when the market was shooting up in 2020 and 2021, there was a difference in median sales price, 5% in 2020 and 3.5% in 2021. The highest median sales price just about every year is somewhere in the late spring to early summer months. The lowest median sales price of any given year usually is in the December month of that year, meaning houses that close in January and were bought in December. So what does that mean for the rest of the fall? It tells me that we have some more dropping to go. Now you might say, well, Sam, does that mean that we're in a crash or we're in a bad correction? That does not mean that. This also does not mean that we're also gonna boom up in price again. But my point here is that cyclically we are in the time that we were expecting. I was expecting that would take place, meaning the house prices are going to drop. Now, between September and December, there is at least 1, possibly 2 months where the sales price median, average sales price, stays around the same or even bumps up again before it drops again into December. But you can pretty much be assured that between now and the end of the year, we still have some more dropping to do, especially as we get into November and December. It does not mean that you can all of a sudden offer 20% under asking price and get the house accepted. House prices right now are still selling right around asking price. That is a big difference from 3 months ago. I counted in Virginia Beach the amount of houses that closed in Virginia Beach in the last 30 days. And of those, about 350 houses, 23 of them sold over $20,000 over asking price in various wide ranges of price ranges. Some houses are still selling well over asking price, But what it does not mean is that they're not going way over like they were a few months and a year ago. Now, I think a lot of the reason for the percentage of the list price that a house is going under contract being lower is due to the fact that there is a larger percentage of houses that are being listed for too high or for the market that was 3 or 4 months ago. And I think it's going to go down a little bit more. I think it's going to go into that 99-something% of list price before we get to the end of the year. Houses days on market right now on average is 15 days on the market. That is a significant increase from a few months ago when it was in the 6 and 7 range. And I still think that's going to go up as well into the low 20s at least as we get into December. This is where I get into my general thought process about when to buy a house. Should you buy a house between now and the end of the year? I'd say if you're going to be buying any time in the next year or so, I would say target, sometime between September, October, but really November, December if you can, because that's when you can get a really great price relative to the months around. Even when the market was dropping, the house prices would go back up in the springtime. So in any kind of market, make sure that you know that the best time to buy a house price-wise is in the fall. Now, there are fewer houses to pick from in the fall. Part of the reason is because sellers know that there are fewer buyers that can buy or want to buy in the fall. So you'll find less houses to choose from. Secondly, there are fewer people that cyclically or seasonally are able or want to plan to sell their house in the fall. So you find that there are different reasons that people sell in the fall, and so you'll find fewer optimal or prime houses that go on the market in the fall compared to the springtime. So that also is part of why the prices you find are a little bit less in the fall. So what do I think is going to happen in the next about 4 or 5 months into the winter time? I think the median sales price in the south side and peninsula of Hampton Roads is going to go from $315 probably down into the $300 range. Depending on what kind of house that you want, what kind of, how much work you want to do to your house, this might be a really good time to get a house because that number might go to $290. It also then could bump back up. I'd say 40-56% of houses are going to be in that asking price range, or sometimes less than that. So I think you're going to have some good opportunities here in the next few months. What do I think beyond the next few months into the springtime of next year? I think that the prices are going to go back up again because it's cyclical. Every year we see this happen. Now, to bring it back to what could be your personal situation, remember that the type of house that you want will be a much more important thing to strategize around compared to the general average or median sales prices of the Hampton Roads area, because each house has its own market, if you will. A house that's priced at $575 and should be priced at $600, that's gonna probably go over asking price. Even though that you look at the numbers, you might say, well, I should offer less, or I can offer asking price and maybe get the house. No, it does still depend on the specific house and what kinds of competition that there is for the house that you want. But please, by all means, do not buy a house right now if you do not feel comfortable buying a house right now, and don't do it just because you think the prices are cheaper. That is not, to me, enough to buy a house in any situation. It's gotta be right for you and your family. Now, for more information about the area or real estate, I have more videos here and here. You can click on those. If you have any more questions about living in this area or relocating here, reach out to me at any point. I have my contact information in the description as well. And I will see you on the next video.